Okay, so as promised, this is the next video, exposed assets due to care costs. And in this video, I'm also going to cover a little bit about what you can do to protect assets if a loved one needs care. I'm not going to get into Medicaid planning and that kind of stuff because that's not really stuff that I run into very much. And some of what I'm going to share with you, I haven't encountered with my own clients, but because in many cases we've done the required planning, but I've also run into it with clients' parents or loved ones quite a bit. So one thing to sort of note is it's crucial you start talking to your parents or your loved ones early on, because once they hit their early to mid 80s, you may find that they're too far gone or really not inclined to change anything. So if you want to remedy estate planning issues, you have to do it before then in most cases. Okay, so assets held as joint property, I have seen pose problems if the surviving spouse has a lot of debt from lengthy care later in life. So I remember seeing a client who it's unfortunate, but his dad said he would never need care and they didn't want to pay for it. And they had plenty of money, and insurance costs at that time were much lower than they are now, even if they had premium increases. They didn't end up getting the care covered with a plan or even lay out for their kids what to do. And the dad ended up spending, I think it was $290,000 on care costs. Well, when he passed away and his estate was getting settled, there was a lot of fighting and contention with debtors, right, or creditors. So nursing homes, memory care units, etc. So for clients of mine in Pennsylvania, for example, or Kansas City or Missouri, we ask them to work with the trusted estate planning attorneys that we've worked with them for many years. When one spouse gets ill or starts having health issues, even if it's just a little bit, it is important to notify us and to talk to your estate planning attorney, because that may be a great time to reposition assets that are jointly held. So let me give you a good example where we were able to actually help a client. The client made me aware that his father, who was much older, had a very bad gambling problem for a long time. And with proper planning, this was in Pennsylvania, Guy Matthews handled this. When the dad passed away, his family was not straddled with that debt. I'm not going to get into all the planning the guy did and how that all works, but that's why it's important to get a professional involved. Okay, this was another good example. I decided not to use all the bad examples because they're a little depressing. I had a good example. I had a younger couple, this was many years ago, in their early 60s. The wife started getting pretty ill. The husband wasn't sure what was happening, but he just notified us right away because he said, is there any planning we should do? Anything I can do to protect her, our kids, our assets, and all the money we've saved and worked to save? Now, because our trusted estate planning attorney was able to get involved early on, because the client notified us really at the very, very beginning, good planning was able to be done and asset repositioning was done. And the estate planning attorney, which in this case was Guy Matthews, saved the client at least $140,000 or $160,000 in taxes when his wife passed away, because the husband got what's known as a step up in basis. And the way the assets were positioned previously, that never would have happened. But because he reached out right away and the wife didn't pass away for 1.5 to 2 years, Guy was able to reposition assets and do really good planning for them. So what I'm saying is please, please, please protect those you love by doing good planning. I've seen things happen to clients where a loved one's estate settlement is held up in court for a very long time because debtors like a nursing home or memory care unit want to get their share of those assets, and it just drags everything out. So there's so many examples that I could give you as to why you want to engage a professional. And in this case, an estate planning attorney, when a spouse or a loved one starts to see a change in health. Sometimes people go, well, they're not sick yet. I had a client whose wife started to fall. And really, that's when you want to notify people, because you don't know that in some cases could be cognitive. And in that case, it was, but he didn't tell us until she had been falling for about 9 months. And at that point, we were very, very far along. But there are innumerable planning opportunities that could be engaged to help you, help your family, help your spouse or a loved one when health starts to change. So please reach out to your professional. Please reach out to us if you have any questions. I hope this was helpful.